With the Minnesota Vikings falling 28-25 to the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, preseason is mercifully over. Hey, it's been real, it's been fun, it hasn't been real fun. Smile because it happened, whatever. At least we have 2 weeks to overreact to how garbage the first teamers looked in the last three preseason games, but whatever. We're on to Cincinnati. Here are the winners and LOOHOOHOOSERS from the game that was. Winner number one. Now, you could go KELLEN, MOND, but I got to go with my guy. EVERSON friggin' GRIFFEN joining the Vikings, playing for $10 and a ham sandwich, and it was a beautiful return for number 58, which he looked pretty good in 58. I know that Pierce is going to give him 97, but whatever. You got a third down sack in the second quarter. He absolutely abused Prince Tega Wanogho, the pride of Auburn, formerly of the Eagles. By the way, look him up. He's an actual prince. I'm not talking about like Prince Rogers Nelson. I'm talking about like royalty. It's kind of crazy, right? But he's a bad left tackle. He's a bad backup. If Orlando Brown Jr. goes down, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But EVERSON also got a pressure on a twist that ended up with the DJ Wanham sack on the previous third down. So he is wreaking havoc out there. He really was a man amongst guys who are going to be working at Home Depot in a couple weeks. But EVERSON in with the twos. It really was unfair. The spin move is back. Sack Daddy is back. We after that ass, Shane. That's right. Next up, winner number two from Vikings-Chiefs. Yes, KELLEN, MOND. Finally, we got our sweet moment with the pride of Texas A&M. I think that he secured the QB2 job tonight. There's absolutely no bones about it. MOND looked good. Jake Browning was ass again. Thank you. But MOND was 16-23 for a $196. Also ran for 40 yards on 5 carries. Showed poise. Showed a sense of calm that we hadn't seen in the previous game. Still a lot of room to grow. A lot of room to grow. And yes, he was playing threes, but he was also playing with threes. But a very impressive showing from the rookie third rounder. And yes, it was a bad pick on the overthrow. Maybe Zach Davidson could have shown a little bit more effort, as Rick Spielman pointed out on the telecast, which is funny. Also had a strip sack fumble, but that was horrible protection from Blake Brando, who I think might be in a little bit of trouble as well. Also, we finally saw him run just a little bit. Now, I understand that Clint Kubiak wants to keep everything so vanilla in preseason, but I want to see some RPOs from KELLEN, MOND, man. I want to see it. Use his legs as an asset. There you go. But also, you saw MOND lead an 89-yard drive late in the game that notched 0 points because Kubiak is a coward down the red zone. And then they went from the 11, then they punched it in. A.J. Rose, dose. It's funny because we compared his running style to Matt Asiata, and he's just putting up touchdowns in chunks. It's kind of funny too. But KELLEN, MOND is QB2. There you go. Next up, winner number 3 from Vikings-Chiefs. Irv Smith Jr., highlight of the first team offense, the only starting skill position player with the ones, 2 catches for 39 yards along a 23, had a really nice crossing play off a play action. Kirk Cousins took the profit. Irv turned it up, made a nice play. He will be a top 5 fantasy tight end this season. Mark my words. Next up, winner number 4, Vikings-Chiefs. Running back A.J. Rose. That's right, the pride of Kentucky. Go Wildcats. 100 yards in the first preseason game against Denver was whatever against the Colts. But then punched in a 32-yard touchdown against the Chiefs. Second one a little bit later on. Also had 2 catches for 20 yards. He's a new Jarrell Presley. And I understand that people are overreacting. It's like, oh, A.J. Rose. Obviously put him on the 53-man rooster because Amir Abdullah always gets slept on, even by myself sometimes. Kenny Nwangu sort of out of sight, out of mind. But Kenny Nwangu is a bad man. He really is. Alexander Madison got dinged up too, but I think that Rose has certainly earned himself a practice squad spot. I still think that Kenny will be ready to go for the season. Same thing with Madison, and I think that Abdullah has earned a spot backing up Dalvin Cook. And I don't think that A.J. Rose would be poached off of waivers as they cut down to 53. I know there's some running back needy teams out there. Look at the Jaguars. The Rams still could use a fresh body back there too, but nah, I think he'll be fine. Lastly, winner number 5, the second team offensive line. Wyatt Davis, no matter what. Mason Cole opened up the door on the Rose long touchdown. Blake Brandel did struggle. Yes, Zach Bailey did okay at times. Gave up a couple of pressures, but I think overall contorted himself really well. Dakota Dozier caught a pass, by the way. I mean, that was under the radar. And then they sprung the rushing touchdown and also gave KELLEN, MOND enough protection to make some plays. So I thought that overall, them as a unit had a really good showing tonight. Honorable mention winners. So you got to give up to Patrick Mahomes, man. He carved up the Vikings like the Joker's cheeks. Jesus criminy. The first 2 drives, like watching Mahomes, like, oh, is this football then? Right. 8 for 9, $117, 2 touchdowns, a perfect 158.3 quarterback rating. It was just unfair. It was just unfair. But Respect. Mike Hughes would have had a punt return for a touchdown, but wiped out by penalty. And it's funny because we said, hey, if you're going to keep Mike Hughes and not trade him for garbage, have him return punts. Have him be a return specialist. Okay. Sure. KJ Osborne secured the wide receiver 3 job, 3 catches for 68 yards. I think that he's going to be a really nice asset. Him and ISM. Maybe Chad Beebe holds on. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tight, but I think it will be a rotation, a bit of a combo platter for that wide receiver 3 job, and also Irv Smith thrown there as well. Dalvin Tomlinson shoved Trey Smith to Kansas, which is confusing because Kansas City is in Missouri, so he shoved him to Jayhawk State. But yeah, Trey Smith is a guy that I loved in the draft process, 3rd-round pick out of Tennessee, and Dalvin Tomlinson just threw him. And Trey Smith ain't no shrinking violet either. He's got ass for days. He is a gap blocker, but man, it was really impressive. Amir Abdullah. Like we said, Amir Abdullah gets slept on at times, but he is a pro's pro. He's a decent backup, running back as well as a special teamer. Also, he's very worldly. He's very wise for someone his age, and I think that he is a good leader in that running back room and in the locker room. So I think they'll keep him around. Nick Candlelight Vigil, speaking of veterans, solid all-around veteran who's always in the right place, always knows his assignments, and Zimmer will put a lot of stock into that, especially with the injuries to some of the young linebackers as well as Anthony Barr. Miles Dorn, I thought, had a bit of a hot and cold game. So love the energy. He does play with some really good energy. North Carolina, come on and raise up, flying around, making some plays, but also made some mistakes. And also there's a couple plays where, you know, a little bit more experience. He'll be Johnny on the spot, but I do think that he'll earn a practice squad spot. Also, Cameron Titan Dantzler. So Dantzler might be fired up because of the demotion, just lighting a fire under his ass, which you love to see. Made a couple plays, gave up a couple plays, also recovered a fumble. There you go. DJ Wanham had the cleanup on aisle 5 after Everson got some pressure, and he was also notably out of the game before Weatherly. And on the telecast, like PA and Bursich were making a big deal of who's going to start, Weatherly or Wanham? They're both going to play. They are both going to play in a rotation. Everson will get in there as well. I'm not so sure about Patrick Jones. But it really doesn't matter who starts. Like, it's just like who's going to get their name up on Fox, right, on the infographic of starters. But they'll each get in. I don't know. They'll probably play 550 to 600 snaps on the season, and they'll get after it. They both bring something to the table, and they both will be assets on this defense. Whop Philyor, what's up, baby? They're the pride of Indiana. The UDFA had 2 catches for 35 yards. Also, he ran with the ones a little bit tonight, with whatever the ones meant. Perry Nickerson, the veteran slot cornerback, had himself a pick 6. I mean, it was thrown right to him. Like, it was absolutely gift wrap. But I think that he may have a chance to roster. I know that Zimmer thinks very highly of him. At minimum, I think he'll be on the practice squad. He'll stay in the sphere. Hercules Mataafa. Bad Mataafa. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Herc. Had his first sack of the preseason. Hopefully that's enough to make him a practice squad candidate. ISM. The MOND to ISM connection is going to be going for a long time. That's right. Amir Smith-Marset. Absolutely love him. Losers. Hoosers, the Vikings' first team offense in general. Yeah. So you had 3 drives, 75 total yards, 3 points, which is not great. I understand that you don't have Dalvin, you don't have Jefferson, you don't have Thielen out there. Don't care. I just don't care. Just no rhythm, no whatever. It was just really rough to watch out there. Opening drive, they did have 10 plays for 6-7 yards. They stalled at the 8 cell for a field goal. So you had some hope, but then the next 2 drives with Cousins and the first team offensive line, nah. And Clint Kubiak, like, people have criticized his play calling, and I think it's fair. Like, he doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. Just some easy play action that's going to be a staple of the offense. Like, it's what we need to see in preseason. And you saw that his scripted plays were good to go the first drive, but once he got off a schedule, it's not great. It's not all play calling, by the way. It's just the execution of the offense. It's been a little disheartening. Block, run, throw, get open, catch. These are all fundamentals that we all just want to see, and they weren't exactly executed consistently from the 1s, the 2s, or the 3s at times. But also it is the play calling. Running on 2nd and long, I understand that you're trying to keep it vanilla, but come on. Also, the play selection in the red zone, the first time they were down there, hey, We want to see Kellen Mond. Let him run. Let him throw. A little bit of RPOs. Let him just chuck it all over the place. Now, we don't need to see AJ Rose and Ito Smith try and pound it in from the 5. No, it's not what we want to see. Also, Zach Davidson, man. I think Zach Davidson might be in trouble. I think I could easily see him not making the roster and also not being picked up on the practice squad. But he absolutely quit on the Mond interception, and it's really not a good sign when your general manager says on national television, because it was on NFL Network, you should have given more effort. Also, you had a holding call that brought back a nice AJ Rose run. Yeah. I think Brandon Dillon is clearly the tight end 3, and I think that Shane Zylstra may even sneak onto the practice squad ahead of Davidson, but we'll see. Oh, but he can punt. Sure. Jake Browning was god-awful, 2 for 8 for 41 yards, and he did try to push it vertically, but like we said, the arm is just not there. And as we've reiterated several times, we're not an arm strength snob, but you have to have a minimum threshold. You have to check the box, and I don't think he does. Vikings starting defense, 15 plays, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns on 2 drives. I get that they're only starting, 5 to 6 starters on defense with the ones, but it just wasn't good. Kelsey got loose. I mean, a tradition unlike any other. The Vikings defense can't cover tight ends, and Breeland got burnt by Tyreek. But also, you left him on an island one-on-one against Tyreek Hill, who had a dinged-up hamstring last week, but he's still a bad dude, right? And Bashard Breeland's game is not press man one-on-one, leave him on an island. It ain't it. Right? So you give him no safety help. You're just going to run press man cover 1? Really, Little Zim? Is that what you're doing? Great. Sheldon Richardson. So he got called for offsides. He had a missed tackle. He did tip a pass later on. But it just seems like he hasn't been interested in preseason. And I get it might just be a veteran thing. It's like, hey, I understand that I'm here. I'm backing up Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce. But why? Why am I playing in preseason? I sort of understand it, but I don't know. I hope he flips a switch, because we know that Sheldon Richardson is a solid player. He's got a lot of good football left in him. So, nah. Also, Patrick Jones second. We've seen flashes on him, but so what came out of the Denver game when Patterson says that he ran the wrong place a couple times, yeah, I could see that. Like, Jones needs a lot of work. Also, he messed up on that screen by Gore that went 79,000 yards for a touchdown. Yeah. Also, the bad sack on Cousins by linebacker Anthony Hitchens. So everyone jumped on Abdullah right away, but it's not really on him. Like, you really expect him to go off a play action and get the blitzing linebacker from the opposite A-gap? No, that's on Bradbury. He knows that Abdullah can't stretch that far, so you got to change the protection. I mean, these are just basic fundamental things, but nah. Also, Greg Joseph kicks field goals the way that you would expect a dude with 2 first names. Yeah, missed again from 52, so he's 0 for 2 so far in preseason from 50 plus. So, we'll see. But overall, like, that first half was really depressing until Kellen Mond got in and he completely changed things around. I think that the momentum was there. And then you saw that everyone had a little bit more of a bounce in their step once 11 got on the field and was doing some things with the football. So I think he's firmly secured the QB2 spot. And I would have liked to see him a little bit in the first half, see him with the ones, or at least the first team offensive line, as it were, but it is what it is. Preseason is done. Meaningless football is done. 53-man rooster cuts are due on Tuesday. We'll see if the Vikings take their sweet-ass time like they did last year up until the final second. Some teams will have their 53-man roster set over the weekend. Maybe the Vikings will do that. Who really knows? But your thoughts, Vikings-Chiefs recap, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work below some in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.